This quilt is called Jiffy Jelly Quilt. It's made with one jelly roll, or you can use scraps of 2.5-inch strips. In this case, I used scraps, and I just went through my scrap pile and picked out all the strips, and you pick out 40 strips. What I'm going to show you today is how to piece this block and how to set it, and I'm going to use scraps for the demo quilt as well, so stay tuned. For this quilt, you can use a jelly roll, which is 40 strips of fabric that are 2.5 inches wide, or you can use 2.5-inch wide strips of scraps, which is what I'm going to do. And I have all these strips from Civil War type reproduction fabrics, and you're going to go through and pair them up, and you want a light and a dark. In this case, most of these are kind of medium to dark, so I'm just going to pair two together that sort of coordinate, and we're going to keep those together. These are the blocks. You'll get 4 blocks from 2 strips of fabric. In this case, we had this light strip and the dark strip together, so you'll have 4 blocks. We're going to take the first set, leave it folded in half, and place the folds together. So here we have the 2 folds, and I'm going to cut off the folds, then flip this around. Now I need 2 bars at 6.5 inches. So my ruler is 6.5 inches. I'm just going to use that. So I cut 1 bar at 6.5 and another bar 6.5. Now I need 3 at 2.5 inches. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Now there's a little selvage left on here, but it's going to be in seam allowance, so I'm not worried about that. These are the bars, we'll call them, and we're going to stack the bars together. And these are the 3 2.5 inches, and we're going to stack these 2 together and this 1. So this is going to be the piecing order, and how it's pieced. We piece the center first with the 2-inch squares, and then we add the bars to the side. So let me show you how we do that. You take the stack. Here you have your 2 stacks of your squares and your 1 stack of squares and your bars. So we'll start with the squares, and we're going to take all of these squares and piece them together like this. Just piece them together, it doesn't matter which side. So we'll have 4 of these together. Here they are pieced together, and I've just finger pressed to the dark side. Next, we'll take our second stack, our last stack of squares, and we're going to piece them like this. Then we'll have our 3 together. Now we have the centers, and I finger press these toward the dark side as well. Next, we're going to piece the bars to the side. So you know which bar goes where because you're going to choose the outside colors. So the dark bar goes on these, and the light bar goes on these, like this. So we'll do that. Now you have your 4 finished blocks, and it's at this point that I go into the iron and just press them with the iron, and they're ready to piece into a quilt now. Here's my stack of 80 blocks, and I'm ready to lay them out, and I go through them and just sort of mix up all the colors and the lights and darks and just throw them in a pile. It takes probably 10 minutes to do that, and it just gets me started with getting them all mixed up. So what I do next is I start laying them out. So the bar is horizontal here, and then we'll put this bar vertically here, and then just continue like that. So you never have to match any of these seams. Then lay them out on your design wall or wherever you lay out your quilt and see how you like the colors. And sometimes if you take a picture with your phone and then look at the picture on your phone, you can see places that you need to change. So I don't get too fussy at this point. I just kind of lay them out, and if I see something is not right, I'll just change it right there, but I don't get too fussy about anything right now. So do that, and then you'll piece these in rows. Piece the rows together first, and then what I do is I press all of these seams in one direction. So if this is row 1, I press them all to the right, and then take row 2 and I press these seams all to the left. So then you'll have interlocking seams when you put the rows together, and then you'll have your quilt finished. Here's a Jiffy Jelly Roll quilt I finished, and this was just scraps. So I wanted to show you the fabric I chose for the backing, and I had this fabric here that I really liked it because it's colorful, and it probably didn't match anything in the quilt, but it was close enough for me, and I really like busy backings. And I first decided I would use the yellow for the binding. Now for the quilting pattern, I just wanted to use a stippling pattern. So it's just called Classic Stipple, and you can see it's done in sort of a tangerine color thread. Let's see if I can get in closer to that. So there you can see the tangerine color thread. So this was a fun quilt to do. It goes pretty fast, and it's really easy to piece, and you don't have to do a lot of pressing, and you don't have to really fuss with matching a lot of seams. So it's a great quilt, especially if you're a beginner.